Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Uplifted Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Scott Newman. Scott is the founder and CEO of Elevation Concepts. And Scott is passionate about creating happy and healthy organizations. He knows how to develop people and maintain a strong culture, and he knows how important and critical those components of success are. So, a little bit about what the Uplifted podcast is all about. We are committed to uplifting individuals. It's a power packed podcast, and we host successful business owners and entrepreneurs and community based professionals and individuals who are committed to live extraordinary life in business, in their relationship, in their health, and they're not afraid of sharing struggles and obstacles and challenges. In fact, they are learning from those obstacles and making it even a better transformation for their life and celebrate those experiences, contribute to the triumph, the wins, both for themselves and for the community. And those individuals are here to share with us mindset challenges and inspiration to empower and motivate the listeners that we have and keep uplifting, as we say, keep raising the bar. And as Scott would say, keep raising the standard. So, Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So, thank you again for joining us. So, Scott, why don't you share with us maybe a little bit about yourself, about your business, and some of the things that are important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks again for having me. So, as you said, I'm the founder and CEO of Elevation Concepts. We manufacture standing desks and tables. What makes us unique is we use a writable glass surface. So you can write on it with a Sharpie or wet or dry erase marker. It's available in over 150 different colors. And then something as a byproduct of COVID, it's an antimicrobial surface. So you can disinfect it, killing bacteria upon contact. So, COVID's been a blessing and a curse for all of us. And so we really are working hard with companies that are really trying to support a lot of their work, their remote employees that are working away from the office, as well as providing a very safe and healthy work surface and ergonomic solutions when we do return back to the workplace.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Tell us a little bit about the journey, how to get here. Maybe if you want to share some obstacles that maybe have been in the way for you and then you overcame those and what it took for you to overcome. Because a lot of people see us as already the final finished product, if you will. And we do go through a lot of fluctuations and ups and downs. And a lot of our audience are interested in learning that background story.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, it's every day is a struggle. Yeah, you're right. This isn't the finished product. I mean, we're all on a journey. I compare the life of an entrepreneur to almost an infant. You're on a cliff every day. Everything is life or death. And so the objective is to keep it from being a roller coaster and more of just a nice trajectory of growth. Well, we had all that. Then something called COVID hit and it disrupted that. And, even though this year has been a bit of a struggle, we had to, I don't want to use the word pivot, but we had to change a little bit of how we did our business, the way we did it. I've always been a big believer in face-to-face meetings to get to know somebody, to talk about my brand. I'm passionate about my brand. I'm passionate about getting to know other people. But now we're doing this all via Zoom. So we've kind of had to collectively reset our business model. We've made it through it and we've had a great year. To go back a little bit about being an entrepreneur, there's people out there that hate to use the word grinder or grit, but I embrace those two words because if you're going to work for yourself, you've got to possess both of those. And I think we can all say that we've grinded through this year. We're better for it. And you need to have grit. And it's super important. And I think it's also gives us a moment now towards the end of the year to look back and self-reflect on some of the best and the worst practices. What I find when I talk to business leaders, entrepreneurs, is we tend to always be our best friend. and we never really look at ourselves in the mirror and really self-reflect. So I think it's important that you share the wins and you share the losses. And I've always said I share the best practices, great. But if I can share a worst practices or something that I had to overcome and it can help a fellow entrepreneur or business leader or a rookie account executive out there knocking on doors to not go through those struggles, I'm all for it.
I love it. I love how you define it as the sharing worst practices, because those are the biggest lessons often.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think about a couple of people, and you always get really good advice, but I'll never forget, a gentleman that I consider my mentor, talking about what grinders are, and it's true. And I think that no matter what business we've been in this year, everybody has been touched by COVID. Some people in some industries have done extraordinarily well. Some others haven't. We've done very well. We've had our best year this year, but we've learned a lot. I think what it does is it really has taught me to really take a deep breath, accept that Zoom call, maybe if you think it's not going to result in a sale, because more often than not, via the LinkedIn community, if it wasn't for LinkedIn, we wouldn't be here today. And I can tell you how many times I've been on a LinkedIn Zoom call or a call on a Zoom call. I didn't generate any business, but I was able to connect two different people together that were able to break bread and do business. So I think that we get caught up in that churn, and it's just a next mentality. But I think that if we can continue this, learn a little bit more about your customer, a proper needs analysis, and take the time to get to know them on more of an interpersonal level, I think that's going to make us all better professionals as we move forward and we emerge from this post-COVID world.
Yeah. I'm curious, who's been your biggest inspirations? You shared about one of your mentors, but who's been in your life, whether it's through childhood or both personally and professionally?
There's several. I think really you have to draw on your family. And I think that's important because, so you say inspiration, it can't just be one person, but I would say, of course, it's my wife and my two daughters, and then my twin sister and my parents. And then, of course, I have that inner circle, because when you're driving home at night and you've had that day, you have to go home to your wife and to your daughters, and you want to be your best version of yourself when you get through that door. So there's a lot of people that have heard me on the way home this year, just getting it off my chest. But I've heard a lot of other people do the same thing to me, that, they're facing bankruptcy because COVID disrupted a business that was a multi-million-dollar business 6 months ago. Yeah. And so I think the most important thing is going back to that inspiration. It is your family. And I think that's one thing that's taught me, especially as I started this journey of becoming an entrepreneur, is when you take that leap and you have a wife and you have children, they're in it with you. You're all in that together. And you've got to make sure that, you communicate with them, and, you still have to be a husband and a father. So, but I could name some other business leaders, but that would be my inspiration, would be my wife and my two girls.
Yeah, that's amazing. One of the things that I saw in Arnold Schwarzenegger, as some of the viewers know, that I've been a national champion for fitness and bodybuilding, and Arnold was an inspiration for me. And I actually got to meet him in person, and he's just a really good guy. But at any event, he said, he had a video, you can find it on YouTube. He said, call me Schwartzy, call me Schnitzel, call me whatever you want to call me, but don't call me a self-made man, because I actually did all of this. It took a community to get all of this done. And that was something that, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we just want to get it done, and we want to just we maybe there's shame there if we're not getting it on our own, and right. And so some of those challenges, by being vulnerable and being inclusive of all of the people that we've learned and got inspired by, I think it can bring us to greater heights.
So I agree with that. And to kind of further your point, Adam, for a lot of entrepreneurs they're just entrepreneurs by nature.
Yeah.
But when you look back, and I self-reflect on my life as a corporate executive, it's easy to, you always want to embrace, and the team takes credit and whatnot. You have a support network there. You work for a multi-billion-dollar company, but when you work for yourself, your struggles, most people don't comprehend the struggles that you go through. And so I think that it's super important to network and to be part of small communities where you can share information and you can talk to one another, because you're not in it alone. And yeah, it takes a village, for you to become a fitness champ. It takes a village to build a successful company, but it's also refreshing to talk with like-minded professionals that are going through similar struggles. You're not the only one that's figuring out how you're going to do this, or calling up a company and saying, look, I don't know anything about this. Can you help me? And so I think what happens is it kind of, or it exposes a lot more of your humility, because you've got to break down those barriers. And you're not, if you're not humble and you don't express humility, you're never going to learn, and then you will fail. And I can assure you, I've failed a lot more than I've won, but I celebrate every victory because you're learning from it. And if you continue to learn and to continue to evolve, you're going to set yourself up on the path of true success. And I think that that's truly where true culture comes in, especially as you start to bring people in and you create a true synergy and energy inside your organization.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, about gratitude, about synergies, about collaboration. I know those are the things that are important to you. Tell me more about that.
Well, I think that it's important. First of all, we should all be grateful, because no matter if you're the last person in the office at night and you're cleaning the office, or you're the first one in and you're doing this. And again, I'll pull back to COVID. I think I'm more grateful now than I ever have been, because I'm grateful for health. I'm grateful and I'm more appreciative of so many things that maybe I took for granted before. I look at it this. I serve as board chair for Eastern Seals of North Texas. So we work with children with disabilities. And I think that's really where my gratitude comes from is, here we are and we talk about, oh my gosh, look at these problems that I've got, we're in the middle of this pandemic. But you think about the people out there with disabilities that rely on people to help them. And they face these struggles every single day. And so I think that at its core is where it really started for me. And that was very difficult, because we had to go through a pandemic with a nonprofit. And then it just kind of made me stop and check myself. And I'm like, look, this is not about me. There's families out there that have kiddos that need therapy and they can't get it, and they rely on that. So that's really where it started for me. And so I think, and that was one thing, and I made a decision. I'm like, look, I am going to be even more philanthropic moving forward, and be more open about sharing my story about children with learning disabilities. And I think that, that gratitude is nothing more than thanking somebody. Yeah. It's easy to walk into work or to walk by somebody, a security guard, and you're in your world, but to be able to stop and say thank you, I think that's where it starts. So hopefully we can continue that. And I know that I sure am, because at the end of the day, our children and our kids, they learn from us as leaders and examples, and we're setting the tone because they're smart. They know what's going on. And so again, I kind of draw more on self-reflection from that. And I'm, try to focus on every day being a better, I feel like, and then I also the way I'm treating my business to of our sales with companies will donate desks to children that are impoverished, that are learning remote, because not everybody has a home office where they can learn from. So there's a lot of different ways.
Thank you.
You froze on me.
Yeah. Scott, what has been your biggest accomplishments that you're proud of?
Hold on, you kind of cut out there.
Okay. I was saying, what has been your biggest accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Professionally or personally?
Both.
Professionally, I would say this year, making it through this year and really not just making it through, but really having, solid trajectory as we head into 2021. I think it brings me satisfaction to be able to get to know my customers, to get to work with some really great people, to deliver an amazing product. I'm proud of what we're building and what we're selling. I'm passionate about it. Personally, I'm proud of the relationship that I have with my family. And I'm also extremely, grateful that, that I'm able to continue as board chair for Easter Seals for another term. I mean, that means a lot to me, because, we have big goals to help, children in North Texas with disabilities. So, this is there, again, I'm, knowing that this is my last official conversation with anybody about anything before before 2021, I think we're ending it on a high note. So,
Yeah. So yeah, I love the raise the standard. So tell
mhm.
me how did that come about, and what does that mean to you?
Raising the standard. I wanted to do, when we came up with the idea of a standing desk, I'm looking at one right now, so I'm kind of laughing about it. As I was always as a sales coach or manager, I was like, hey, come over here, come sit next to me, and let's share my screen, and let's look at this and whatever. And I had this big desk, and of course, look, standing desks are standing desks, but then I'd be in a situation where I'm coaching people, and I would go up and I'd go over to a whiteboard and write something on the wall. And then I just thought, wouldn't it be cool if you actually could write on a standing desk? Because you're obviously a lot more comfortable when you're standing up. Everybody's more at ease. It's not as confrontational. So I look at it more from a collaborative workspace. Yes, it increases your productivity, but I like the idea that I could sit down here and look at my cheat sheet. And I didn't know that you were a fitness model or no, but you can sit here. No, but I like that because I like the idea that you can sit here, you can come to work, and I have my priority list written down in a Sharpie, and it's not going anywhere until I Windex it off,
Yeah.
and then I wipe it clean. So I like the visuality of that. So, for me, raising the standard was, building something that's better. I guess, looking back when I was designing the product, it was to build a better product, but to raising the standard, I think I would say that now really encompasses who we are as a company and our culture, is because we do want to raise the standard at whatever we do. No different than raising the bar.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested in learning more about that journey, because you and I have a very similar journey from going from a corporation. We used to work with a Fortune 50 company,
Mhm.
and you work in the corporate world as well, and you were successful there. It's really scary when you live that cushiony and high paying position. A lot of people wouldn't want to make that leap and jump. What do you tell those people? What can you share with us about how it came about that now you're owning your own company, all of those insights?
Well, all I'll say is this. And this was a question that somebody asked me, and it took me about a year and a half outside the corporate world to actually answer that question.
Yeah.
If you ever feel that it's time to go, you need to leave,
Yeah.
because you need to trust your gut. And I think that you can say this professionally in a corporation or as an entrepreneur: trust your gut, trust your instincts, because they're always right. And to go back and answer your question to, this whole journey started out as a side hustle. And, and you can only do a side hustle for so long before you can't do both.
Yeah, right.
And if you're trying to do both, you can't hide from both. And so it's just one of those things. And so I guess what I would say is if you can afford yourself the opportunity to leave your company and to pursue that dream, and it's something that keeps you up at night because you can't stop thinking about it, go follow that dream.
Yeah.
And that's the best advice I could give you, because you're not doing the company that you work for and you serve justice. You might think you are, but you probably aren't as well as you could. And you're not able to go out there and to continue to try to really chase your dreams. Yes, can you have a side hustle? Of course you can. A lot of people can successfully do it. But in order to have your own business, you have to be all in, 110%, 24/7. It never stops. yeah, that's right. This is our last call for the day, and we're gonna, we're gonna enjoy New Year's in the living room, right? But
Yes.
the truth is, if somebody calls you and wants to buy something, you're gonna do that, So you're always on the clock. So that would be my answer to that question. I hope I did that the right way.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So tell me, hopefully you live a very, very, very long life.
Hmm.
And but when God calls us back, or when we transition out of here, what legacy do you want to create in the world, in a community you're involved in? You're committed to service of others.
Hmm.
What legacy do you want to create?
Oh, I would, you want people your legacy of people to consider you a good man, a good human being, that you were kind to others, you were a great father. For me, I mentioned it earlier. I want my daughters to see that, that we volunteer, and I want that. You can't put that in their DNA. It's just something that they learn, but it's not just something that they learn. It's something that they want to do, and hopefully you inspire others. So I would want one day to people to say, wow, he made a difference in the lives of people that he touched. He was able to bring in talent and develop them, and they went on to become, great at whatever they do. And it's not just about zeros. It's about, better version of their selves, and to make a difference. And so I think that chapter is still being written. I will say this is that, as you do get a little bit older, you start to really be more cognizant of those things. And I read something today, what you do in the world that we live in digitally, it can ruin you in 30 seconds. And so you try to teach that too. But the true merit of what somebody's worth is what you do with your hands and what you do with your heart and your soul. So I hope that one day you could ask my daughters that,
Yeah.
and or somebody else can, that you really truly made a difference. And I think that really plays back into to gratitude and appreciation. I think now more than ever, and again, I'm not going to throw COVID back into it, but I do think that it does make us come back and really value what's important most to us, because we could, it could be over tomorrow. It could be over tomorrow, and you have to ask yourself, have you done enough? Did you tell everybody you love them before you went to work, and hug them just a little bit tighter? And I think that if you do that every day, you're going to leave a pretty damn good legacy.
Yeah, it's amazing what listening or a word or a hug to someone could
Mhm.
do for their life. You never really know the impact that it could create. I mean, you and I are speaking right now, and we
Mhm.
don't know who's gonna hear it. I mean, we have a large audience, and we don't
Yeah.
know who is gonna be touched and inspired and moved to maybe make a change in their life, or a transformation, or help them in a tough area, or something that kind of enlighten them. Or so we never really know. But and the goal is to do it without really an expectation, because it's almost like selfless giving, right?
Mhm.
um,
Well, think about this though, Adam. You and I both, we don't know what the other person struggles with.
yeah,
Everybody struggles with something. And
right,
so I would say this, for me, is that if you are struggling with something, you know, find somebody, there's somebody that you can talk to. And there's always somebody that you can talk to.
yeah,
And you're not going through it alone. And we're not in this alone, whether it's personal, professional, no matter what industry, and there's always people that are there. And so I think the most important thing is taking that first step, and it's just communicating to somebody. And I think that, speaking for me, there's people, and they know who they are. They know what's going on.
yeah.
And, that allows you to be able to look at it. And it's no different than somebody giving you advice. You never want to hear advice from the people that are closest to you, because you get defensive.
Right.
But then when you hear it from the third person, and you're like, yeah, okay, I need to check
Yeah,
myself.
that's yes. uh, Very familiar, right? We all go through this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Scott, we usually give about 60-second open mic to
Hmm.
our guests, and I'd like to do that with you. Why don't you take about 60 second or so and share whatever it is that you want to share, whether it's through inspiration, to live, for business, whatever you want to share or promote, a cause, whatever
Yeah.
that might be for you.
Yeah, I'm simple. I'll go. Look, if you're working remote and you need a amazing standing desk or ergonomic office products, check us out at elevation-concepts.com. Or at Elevation Concepts on social media. We offer white glove service in Dallas Fort Worth. We ship all over the world. We have a great product. If you are looking to have a great product that's, when you return back to the office, antimicrobial, we do that too. I mentioned before, Easter Seals North Texas is our charity of choice. A portion of all our sales go to support, kids with learning disabilities. If you want to donate to Easter Seals North Texas directly. And again, I'd like to thank people like you, Adam, for inviting me on this podcast. I think it's been great. I feel like it was more of a therapy session than anything.
Yes.
but it's been great. I love this. I think it's great. I think there needs to be more of this going around, and look forward to continue our conversations offline, and wish everybody a happy and safe and prosperous 2021, and just be grateful.
Absolutely. It's absolutely no coincidence that we have concluded the year of 2020. This has been an absolute honor. You're really inspired me, and I know the people that will listen to this episode will be quite inspired. And thank you for sharing so authentically and so openly. It's been fun. I really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to continue this conversation with you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing, amazing new year. Take the lessons that you learned and keep raising the bar. I'll see you soon.